online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Kaufmann. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yeah!
Oh yes.
Hey guys, welcome back to another AfterBuzz After Show for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We are in Season 2, Episode 8. This one is called USPIS. I'm your host, JJ Jurgens, and my ladies have left me this evening, but we have a wonderful fill-in host here.
Steve Kaufmann. Steve Kaufmann, I was in the hallway for another show and was like, hey, I like this show too. And watched it, and now I'm here.
Yeah, we reeled you in. I'm so glad you are. I didn't want to sit here by myself. This is awesome.
As challenging as that would probably be, I'm happy you have a second.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. All right, well, let's first start out. Last week, we had Scully in here in the studio, so he played a little number on the people tonight. Yeah, what do you think about his little game?
That was a really fun game,
right?
Really fun teaser up at the top of the show. You had to see that coming, and I like the idea that he's both a genius, and then he drinks his thumbtack mug.
Yeah, me too. That's I love him. So yeah, so he lied and said he made people think that they forgot his birthday, and so everybody felt terrible and came up with all these excuses. But then they decided, let's just pitch in, let's give him some money. Like, yeah, so I like that. He told us to look out for different things that he'd be doing. Him and Hitchcock would be doing throughout the season, and little things in the background too. So I like that right away. We got another little fun nugget from Scully.
I just like on this show, like even those two characters are just so well fleshed out and like. Caricatures of people you'd find in an actual office or an actual precinct.
Yeah.
That may or may not actually get work done.
Yeah, definitely. Entertaining.
My father is a city employee in Philadelphia, and I know people that may or may not be that. I know people that may or may not be as efficient as Hitchcock and Scully. So
this might be based on some truth. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sometimes it's really hard to get fired if you already work for the city. Depends. You have to do terrible, terrible things. But you won't be fired. But
yeah. Well, at least their things are pretty harmless.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah. Well, then we had our second story. We didn't know that Amy had an addiction. So this is something new that we're learning about her character.
I didn't know Amy smoked. I don't feel we've seen that before, but it does make sense that that would be something within her perfectionist, like, be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then to handle my stress, I'm going to step outside and I'm going to smoke. I could see that fitting her character and that not being a defining thing about her character. But, you know, she smokes and she's trying to not smoke. Which, addiction, I actually have not a severe extent of experience. That I'm weird with my words. My exes are just strange today. I've lost 75 pounds in the past 24 months.
That's awesome.
And the only thing I knew about it was that one morning you have to wake up and go, I would like to change. And every decision I make from here on in is to make the change. Whereas she seems to be doing it for her boyfriend, which is part of the reason it'll never work. Because you're not doing it for you. Deep down inside, that's what you want. So until deep down inside you change that, any of the three wonderful things are not going to work and will just lead to hysterical consequences.
Let's talk about those things.
Yes.
So first, Terry decides he's going to help her. And we find out that, I liked it again. I love when they do the flashbacks. We've talked about that before on the show here. And I liked getting those little nuggets. So it was fun to see a flashback to Terry. So he had a food addiction. So I like him banging on the window and crashing it.
Well, and they mentioned earlier in season 1 that now he has like a workout addiction, or he works out enough that he has to eat something like 21,000 calories every day to keep up with probably his insane calorie burning. So I like seeing an extra side where he used to eat 21,000 calories a day anyway. Now he just works out.
Probably different foods that he was eating. All that, and I like to see, because we were all always used to him, so buff and so like in shape too, that it was fun to see. Fun to see this character. This
character just, I think it was Mushu Pork. It was 6 o'clock. How dare you?
Mushu.
Just breaks a window. Like, yep, that's.
I liked, and he was teaching her how to. Sorry, my eyes went. Teaching her how the submersion, where he was dunking his face, and he gets Amy to try to like dunk her face in the cold water to like trick his. What did he word that?
Reboot system.
Yeah, the reboot system.
Just reboot your system where it's like, okay, I guess we could do that. I've never tried anything that hard. I've given myself pittances where like. Yesterday, I wound up eating chicken McNuggets, and I don't typically do that. And I immediately had to do 2 push-ups per chicken McNugget. And I ate 20 chicken McNuggets. And I immediately had to give myself a pittance. So I can understand this like very harsh on yourself system that he's got. That's just you got to scare your body into doing that. That's an interesting take.
Well, I think I've heard that with some like anxieties before too. If you have certain, fear, public speaking, different things to trick your brain, getting the focus off of that fear and getting it onto something else. So I think it was a little bit of that, like
the survival mode. That your brain's more worried about not being freezing cold.
Yeah.
That it's like what are cigarettes? I don't care about that right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's not catch a cold. Let's.
Yeah. So then we have Holt who comes in, and he wants to help her out too. So we find out that he exercises his.
He got a positive addiction, like a positive addiction, which is kind of what I've done. But his positive addiction is just exercise, and I love I love the ponies. And like most people at a racetrack are just so excited. Oh my God, racetrack! This is happening, and he's literally just go for it, go for it, go.
Yeah.
I lost everything. All right.
Yeah, but like fun to see him again. I love his flashbacks too.
His
flashbacks,
like, just for the mustache alone, and just the way he plays everything so deadpan. Just the so perfect that character.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect him to have a gambling addiction. So see him, loving the ponies.
Well, him or her, I wouldn't expect either of them to have an addiction. Like the way they're written, like they're such strong characters. So I like that you can poke a hole in them, that they're still humans. They're still humans with problems, which is what I like about this show. The characters are still people.
Yeah, and I like seeing. So I like Holt takes her out running. They go jogging, and and I love how he's like, no music. He's so serious
music
about.
Music is the devil's crutch.
Yeah,
or music is a crutch.
Yeah. And I like that we see her finally. They go on this run. She's trying to act like we knew the second she stepped into that outhouse. Like we knew it was coming. So yeah, it's fun to see the smoke coming out of there, and then she's like, no, I'm not smoking.
I'm in the shower.
Yeah, steam.
That's the steam from the shower in the porta potty. I think if there were a shower in a porta potty, I would not use it. That's similar to when people talk about a couch in the men's room. Where it's like, oh, ladies get a couch in the ladies' room. There's a couch in the men's room. I was like, I don't think if there were a couch in the men's room, I don't think I'd sit on it.
Probably smart.
I would not. I would assume that's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wise choice.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. So then the third one, then Gina decides to help her, but we don't get to see a flashback from Gina.
I wanted that flashback with she used to be a shopaholic.
Yeah.
Even just a brief flashback of her, because she'd be somewhere kind of like really hip and kind of weird, like Fabergé eggs.
Totally. I mean, and we see before with her dance group, that she loves all these like the leotards and and she had racks of those. So I feel a little gypped on that one. Like I wanted to kind of, I wonder why they decided to show the two and then not show. I don't know. To give us the one more little nugget.
They may have shot it and they needed to keep it tighter.
Yeah.
So. Blu-ray.
That was the thing that went, yeah.
Blu-ray DVD, we'll get it.
Yeah, but funny to see her leading them in a meditation.
Yes, her meditating is just funny. Although it kind of makes sense because she's that very, you would think she's calm, but it's really she just doesn't care about anything around her.
Yeah.
And that's a good, nice, calm way to be.
Yeah.
And she's trying to reflect that on everybody else in a scenario where everyone has their eyes closed. So I wonder what's going to happen. Oh no, smoking.
Yep. Poor Amy. She couldn't make it through. She goes to the window and smokes. And then Terry feels the breeze and it's her with the window open.
And then she quits quitting.
Yeah.
Which is what most people do. Like what your brain's wired to do. It's very difficult to get past that first part of, because she's quitting for someone else, which is always problematic.
Well, maybe, we think that she's going to get back with Jake later in the season. So maybe once that happens, maybe then she'll have the inner strength to just want to do it for herself and get over it.
Well, I hope they keep this up too. That this is canon now. She smokes.
Yeah.
She smoked, or by this conclusion, it's not a problem anymore because she's such a perfectionist that if you put her in, because it seems to be that they just played into like her major trait that she's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
That they put her in this loop, this continual loop.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And nice to see her have the weakness, you know, not be perfect all the time. Yeah. All right, so let's dive into the second storyline going on tonight. We had a new character introduced. So Ed Helms has a guest star, and we think that he has the coolest name in the world. We think he is going to be
Agent Jack Danger.
Yeah, but no, he corrects us. He's Jackie Donger.
I just love, because what I love about Jake Peralta is he's one of those people who thinks he's like so cool, and he's like from the outset like really rather like lame. And I like that he like, who would he find lame? And then we're meeting this person, and that's hysterical. Like a subset of the U.S. Post Office founded by Ben Franklin. Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah. And a perfect role for Ed Helms.
Definitely. And to see just how seriously he takes it.
Oh,
and
man.
Just, to see these two, you know, then they get paired up. This leads into we see more about the giggle pig. So they have the key, and then I thought it was great when they actually find the drugs in the mailbox, and then he's still connected, and you know.
Because he has like this giant gold chain, and it's like, what's that for? And he's like, tradition, mainly tradition. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. That you're even using crazy keys to open mailboxes in this crazy snail mail system we don't understand. We get a lot of jokes about going postal in this episode. Because to him it means nothing else. Like he doesn't watch the news, which I'm a big fan of that blindness that makes for a lot of the comedy. Yeah. But yeah, he uses the giant key. He's attached. They see the perp. He tries to run without unhinging the key, falls. Jake tries to run and catch the perp. He holds on to Jake.
And he ruins it.
Ruins it. Yeah. Because then he catch the perp, and because he winds up catching that perp literally close to 2 acts later. That's how further along he could be if he just didn't hold on to Jake.
Yeah, which frustrates Jake, you know. So Jake goes back in there, and then he goes against. We see Rosa telling him exactly how she wants him to handle this,
of course,
and we see Jake go against what she had wanted.
Just because Jake doesn't like to listen to authority, even if it's a friend. Like, he's way less combative with Rosa, but at the end of the day, he's like, well, you know, you kind of trust me to do this, whereas he doesn't. Like, he'll never think that far ahead to be like, well, Rosa's probably telling me to do this because if I don't, they'll take it over, and then her task force that's hurting this whole department isn't going to get a big bust.
Yeah. Well, because I don't think, in a way, like, I kind of was on his side for this one, because it's like he's just frustrated and just wanted, you know, he's like, knew this guy was a goober, and he's just like, oh, no, you know, I can just let's get him out of the office, you know, like, just do what we need to do. And I always like to see Boyle and him together, like, just the way they act off each other.
Boyle and Jake, perfect. I don't ever want them to not be partners.
No, that bromance is just too good. Yeah. I mean, and he's just so on board with everything, like, no, I want to see the RoboCop, and the, you know, the this backpack place for me, and he's just funny, you know.
RoboCop would not have questioned that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jake.
Yeah. It's just like this. Your puppy dog is so fun.
Oh, those two.
Yeah. So it's like I kind of, you know, I can't fault him for what he did this time, but you know, we go back and, you know, we see how, I think you wouldn't think that the USPIS would have really be given that authority, you know, because I mean, who really thinks that they would be placed in control over the police department, you know?
Yeah, well, it's just a weird hierarchy that it's a federal agency. Yeah, that, like, it's a made-up agency in the show, but in real life, if it were some type of policing unit within the U.S. Postal Authority, which I'm sure U.S. Postal Service, which I'm sure exists, would technically have jurisdiction over the police. Here, they just created a whole funny version of that with a guy who thinks everything he does is like protecting America. Like, what was the and the way he said Al Qaeda was just really funny. There was the.
I don't know if I wrote that one down.
Wait, where was the I lost it.
Yeah.
I lost it. There was the one quote about, we guard what you lick, That was
I had that one down.
That was my favorite.
That was their motto. Yeah.
But it was in another. It was in Latin, but it means "we guard what you lick." I'm like, wow, this is hysterical. But they go into his office. He's got it down to 5 perps, but he's like,
the Fellowship of the Keys, they call it.
He's like, no, but this is going to be a dead end. And at this point, I was like, oh, he's not an idiot. He's in on all this. And then we learn within 2 scenes, like, no, he's an idiot. He's not in on any of this. But what they do is they try to get a distraction, and then they print out that list off a dot matrix printer.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we've seen those type of printers, right?
How do you even service that kind of a printer? I don't
think so. Yeah.
You have to have an in-house technician. There's some crazy implications there. They don't use email either. So they're printing out stuff on the dot matrix printer and then messaging it like.
And their email was our mail. Yeah, the real mail.
They're mailing it to everybody else. And then they go. Boyle kicks in a door finally. Yeah,
that was probably one of my favorite moments of the episode. I love to see, because at first I thought he wasn't going to be able to do it again. You know, I thought he was just going to not open the door. So to see him kick it and then get the roll in, and I love the guy, you know, with his hands up and then he. That was classic. I could watch that over and over.
That was internet. Make me a GIF.
Yeah. Yes.
Make me a GIF of him, or a GIF, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Of him kicking in the door, rolling, getting to his feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he's a perp, and then arresting him. Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah.
But
loved it
because they used information that wasn't there. USPIS takes over the whole case and puts Rosa's whole task force in jeopardy. Because as we've learned earlier in the season, this task force is important.
Yeah.
Because if this task force doesn't garner actual results, the whole precinct looks bad, because then the city spent a bunch of money. The city spent a bunch of money on a task force that's not getting results.
Yeah, and it's huge because this is back with Holt's battle too. You know, with Wunsch and everything.
This is an overarching story for the whole show.
Right.
That, like, this task force has to get results. So it's really it's really important, especially as a friend. And Rosa tells him that you screwed this up for me and my task force, but you're trying to claim to be my friend.
Yeah,
which is. Disappointing, and that lights a fire under him to do the worst thing he could possibly, like, the worst thing in his mind would be to spend more time with Jackie Donger, to which Jackie Donger explains the entire history.
Yeah, but back up just a second when you say the worst thing ever. I love that moment too with Boyle, because it was dip my penis in vinegar, or dip the penis in vinegar.
Dip the penis in vinegar.
Yeah,
and then he was like, Babylonians did it, and I literally put a star next to it to try to Google it, and I forgot to. Not to mention, I would be afraid if I just Googled dip penis in vinegar, I'd be very scared.
Yeah, I bet
what would come up in the Google search.
Be
to
very
see if
fascinating,
Babylonians
I'm sure.
actually did that, or if they just made it up for the show. Both are acceptable.
I bet there's a lot of things you'd have to get through before you got to the Babylonians.
I'm kind of happy I didn't Google it. It probably would not work out for me.
All you at home, go ahead and do that, and let us know next week what you ran into.
And let us know if the NSA...
Don't do it at work. Do it in the privacy of your own home.
And let us know if the NSA has contacted you for the strange things you're Googling.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so sorry, but go ahead. My eyes are still watering on that one. It's probably cracking me up tonight.
Dip penis in vinegar, really funny. So he goes in, and then Jake Donger explains the entire history of the USPIS.
Yeah.
Which seems very long-winded and rather boring.
And I thought for a minit, because Jake was putting up with it and going along with the game, and then at the end he kind of couldn't fight it anymore, and he kind of got a little smart ass with him. And so I thought then that Donger was going to be like, no, you're not taking this seriously, you know, but then he admitted that he needs help. So he's like, okay, I'm actually glad you're here. So I was glad they moved past that, and they're like, okay, so we know they're now going to work together to try to figure this out.
So they, for us and the funny, that's what we need more of them working together.
Yeah. Definitely.
So then we move on, and then they
he helps them figure out what the clues to what the street they're going to meet on, because they think it's not a phone number, is it a postal, it's the city, is it,
it was 10 digits, which were 2 postal codes back to back, but they were 2 different cities, but those cities were also streets on New York.
So smart Jake figured it out.
Smart Jake figures it out. They do a bust.
Go ahead.
They do a bust, and we get a lot more of the fun talk. We get to see Jackie. We get to see Jackie Donger dressed up in his in like his bust gear.
Yeah.
And then he says, this dong is ready to ding.
That was a good one too. Yeah.
That was just a drop the mic comment. Like, that's.
Yeah, and pretty much he dropped right after that because he runs in and he doesn't even make it through any of it. He hits his head on the way in.
The police make a nice raid, storm a place real easy. He hits his head on the door.
Nice to see a little action, you know,
nice
with
action,
them too.
And it's nice to see long term this task force. It's going to get a bust. It got a really good. It looks like it got a really good bust, and it looks like over the course of the season, this task force has to get more and more really good busts to be worth the money it was spent, or everybody looks bad.
Yeah.
And that's all you really don't want while running a precinct.
And right before the bust, we also get a good moment of Jake apologizing to Rosa. And she, you know, she's over it. She doesn't really want to sit through it. But she's like, okay, you know.
Rosa's not the emotional type, not to take an apology type. Like, even when she was angry with Jake, it was like, way to be a friend.
Yeah, and she kind of said her piece, so she's kind of like, okay, you know how I feel about it. We're moving on. You don't have to do this. Let's go. Yeah,
that was messed up. I'm happy you made it right.
Yeah.
Can we go bust some drug? Can we
but
go bust some
I'm kind of glad that he was like, no, I gotta, I gotta do this. I need to do it. So hey, stepping up.
It's big of him and his character to do that, and then nice, really succinct 2-story episode.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about this episode. It was nice.
Yeah.
Easy. It was. I would like to say it was bottled, but the A-side story was all about making one bust for this long-term, thing.
Yeah, I agree. Moved the story along good. I think I liked getting the flashbacks. We got some good, more character development in there. So, yeah, I think that about wrapped up that episode. Yeah. Well, let's go. Do you have any predictions?
Not really.
Yeah, it's harder with this show.
They'll be funny.
Yeah.
They will be on next week. And you will be here.
Yeah, and I'll be back. Yeah.
Barring anything, I'll not be here. I might
you never know. Maybe. All right. Only small news and gossip I have. Everybody go check out People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive again. Terry Crews was nominated for the 3rd year in a row. And
Crews.
yeah, there's a little YouTube video about it where he talks about it and loving his goatee. And he actually says that the ladies' undergarments burst into flames. So that's the effect that he has on the ladies. So check that stuff out for fun. I think that is it for us tonight. We want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you have a great time with your friends and families, and we'll see you again here on next Sunday. Yes. Where can everybody follow you at?
Everybody can find me at Steve Kaufmann. That's Kaufmann. You can also see me on the Gotham After Show. That's tomorrow night, and tomorrow only I'll be doing the Survivor Series After Show as well.
There you go. Lots of places. All right, and you can follow me at Jurgens JJ on Instagram and JJ Jurgens on Twitter. And thank you so much, Steven, in the booth.
Yes.
All right. Okay, that's it.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.